the advent of artificial intelligence diminishes the amount of time that it used to take for SEO to gain some traction, because you can dump incredible loads of data into AI, and it can help guide your team in the right direction.
Hi, I'm Paul Giannamore. I wanted to welcome our new subscribers to the channel. You know, historically, Potomac TV has been focused on business and operational information and interviews for residential and commercial services business owners. But after the publication of the Sell-Side M&A Masterclass last month, my LinkedIn inbox has been inundated with a variety of different requests. So Dylan and I will be sitting down filming more extensive M&A masterclasses, both focusing on the sell side as well as the buy side. I intend to talk about the choice of process, delving deep into M&A psychology, as well as extensive buy side practice, approach, and due diligence. For those of you who have not subscribed, you can click below and subscribe to the channel. Furthermore, we've provided a link here in the description where you can get on our email distribution list. And if you do that, you'll receive an email right in your inbox with our latest publications. Feel free to put a comment below on the types of things you want to see. I mean, this channel is largely driven by you, the viewer, and what you want to see from us. Again, thanks for joining us here at Potomac TV. Welcome to Fire.
Yes, fire prevention. Here we are.
Here you are.
How our journey began and where it's taken us.
So Matt,
Yep.
this is the first time you've been at the National Fire Protection Association conference, so I want to start
Yeah.
a little bit with some background.
Okay.
Obviously, I met you back in 2017
Yep.
when you guys sold the family business, but I want to talk a little bit about how you got into digital marketing.
So the experience that I had before we met each other was in graphic design. Then the family business started out in pest control, but ultimately became a servicing business for homes, right? So all these resi services, you start to work on marketing strategies. I think we were up to 9 when we sold with you.
Yeah.
And the thing that I learned actually in that time, that was 2012 to 2018. The thing that I learned in that time is all these services have very similar underpinnings when it comes to marketing, very similar strategies that you kind of have to use across the board. And so you can take this recipe or whatever you want to call it for one service industry, you can tweak it, modify it, and then you can apply it to another service industry, and it works. It works. And what's interesting is that works at a residential capacity. And then if you make some modifications, it also works at a commercial capacity too. And so, you know, fast forward, we sold the company with you in 2018. Fast forward a little bit more, I am running a digital marketing company, hopefully helping businesses that are looking to grow their market share in their respective markets for their respective services, get to a place where they can sell their company too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
So you now are the Chief Operating Officer of Lizard Marketing.
Yeah. I've got bigger aspirations than that too, by the way.
You, I can only imagine. Your main focus is the resident commercial services space.
Yeah.
So you guys do everything from HVAC, lawn, pest,
All
fire
of it.
protection, and it's literally the same. You and we do a lot together because we're
Yep.
in very similar businesses. Our focus here at Potomac is route-based service businesses. So
Yeah.
anytime you put a technician in a truck, send them to a business, send them to a home, that's what we focus on.
Yep.
And so, you know, I was chatting with Artem, whom you know,
Yep.
just yesterday here on the stage. He runs a business called Chase Fire Protection up in New York Metro.
In Queens.
He started his business literally knocking on doors. And he said, of course, now no one wants to open the door. So he's
So
moved
true,
very,
especially post-pandemic.
yes.
Yeah.
He's moved very heavily to digital.
Yep.
And so really one of the things that I want to talk to you about today is, I want to stick to the basics. A lot of business owners struggle with having an online presence. It's tough from an SEO perspective, but it's also very tough to understand paid search. And so let's go right down to basics today. And,
Sure.
and how should a business owner think about digital marketing and positioning online?
Yeah. It is an investment, just like it's an investment to have an admin receive a call, just like it's an investment to have a salesperson closing a lead, right? Just like having someone in accounts payable and accounts receivable. You've got to have a digital marketing strategy now more than ever in the service industry in particular, and it's got to be a commitment, a part of your P&L that you are planning on, right? You cannot sample and try and jump around and all of this kind of stuff. Because one thing that I love that Artem just dropped it. We just recently met. And so I love that he just put it right out there. He's been in business for about 18 years now. Do you know what I mean? And he's once he stopped knocking on doors, he invested in digital marketing and digital marketing strategy indefinitely. And one of the things he said to me when we were sitting in the back was in Queens, where his market is, right? There's 150 companies like his in a 15-mile radius, right? That's insane. And he's on page 1 of Google.
Yep.
And he didn't say it like we got there last month, or he didn't say it we got there with this digital marketing company. He got here with a commitment to digital marketing and the longevity to realize that commitment month over month. It sounds like it's a part of his P&L and investment that he makes every time. So one thing I think for this market in particular, there are some services that we do business with that is more immediate gratification, is much more high demand. You miss that call, it's over. But then you have systems like what we're dealing with here that are a lot more slow to nurture, and your strategy has to be different. But Artem has thought through the strategy. He's found a team that he wants to work with, and he's committed to working with that team. And what do you know? After years of making this investment in digital marketing, he's on page 1 of Google, and that's not easy to do. There's not many spots on page 1 of Google.
I mean,
organically.
How much power is it to be, from an organic perspective, being on page 1 versus the guys who try to shortcut it and use paid search?
Yeah, for fire protection, there's no shortcut, right? One thing I thought of when I was walking around through the aisles with my daughter, all of these vendors that are here, hit me up, guys. Because demand for paid search for all the stuff that you see around us is high. It's crazy high. I was just brushing up on my homework before I flew out here to meet you with my paid search team. And we were talking through, what these vendors are offering and selling out here, and it's out of control, right? But when it comes to the industry itself, the service industry itself, the application of these tools into the market, it's much lower, right? From a paid search perspective. So the strategy is different. Artem's strategy is different. Artem has invested in SEO, which is a much slower game and a much slower climb. And so how important is it to be on page 1 of Google? It's crazy important. When you are one of 150 companies in a 15-mile radius, and you're on page 1 of Google, and you have reviews out the asshole, and you've got tutorial videos, and you've got content, and you've got regulation, and you're teaching the consumer and all this stuff, you show up on page 1. And so where's the first place somebody's going to go when they're ready to pick somebody? They're going to go to Artem because he's right there,
One thing that I guess just popped into my mind when you were talking about the 150 players in New York Metro.
Yeah,
when I think about,
that's insane.
You've got your resi service businesses and your commercial services businesses.
Yep.
The majority of the folks here are focused on the commercial market, and you just talked about reviews. It strikes me as it's much more difficult to get reviews for a commercial focused business than a resi business, right?
Yep.
And so,
because you have fewer contracts, right? Resi services, when we sold our company with you in 2018, we had 34,000 customers. You know how easy it was? And before I jumped in 2012, we had not made any investments in building reviews. I know this ages me, but it wasn't as big of a thing then as it is now, right? You juxtapose that to commercial contracts, which are fewer and farther in between. You have to have a strategy, and it becomes about network marketing, right? I have to rub elbows with people. I have to nurture these leads, and I have to, with intention, Artem is reaching out to people to get those reviews to stockpile up, because it's a slower game, and it's a much more of an investment, as opposed to sending out an SMS to 10,000 customers looking for reviews, like an application like Podium or something like that, which is awesome for the resi service space. Much harder to do with commercial. And so it is definitely a feather in his cap that he has as many as he does.
I mean, do you feel like commercial businesses are less likely to, on their own, voluntarily do a review without asking them for it?
Yeah.
I guess, versus residential.
Yeah.
Like Aunt Susie out in the suburbs, she's got nothing to do.
Yeah.
Her daughter just got her an iPad. She wants to use it.
Oh, yeah.
She writes the review. But business people are busy.
Yes, they're busy, but you can tell. One thing he was describing to me, and I kind of relate to this because I feel like we were doing this at Killingsworth a lot. One thing he said was, I don't have people answering the phone. I answer the phone, and I take care of my customers. When you have a business owner like that who is doing a service like this, especially that's focused on commercial, you've got a relationship with the owner. You know the owner by name. You know the owner is going to cover for you. You know the owner is on top of his regulations. You know the owner is not going to let you fail an inspection. He's looking out for you, all that kind of stuff. You are happy. You are inclined to hook him up if he asks you for something as simple as, hey, can you click on this link and follow up this review? You can tell. He answered 2 phone calls while we were sitting there. I was like, oh, all right. He's committed to it, and it takes that to kind of build those reviews. So yes, people are busy, but when you have a partner like that, you will find over time that you're much more inclined to get them than how most people treat commercial relationships, which is distant. You talking to an army of people over here, which is talking to an army of people over here. You don't know exactly who you're working with, and it's okay if you fire this company, go with the next one. When you take it personal, it shows. And I think people have your back, right, when it comes to giving somebody a shout out.
So how should you ask for reviews?
I think what he did, how he described it, is the way that I would do it, even at the size that he's at, right? He's got plans. He's moving and shaking in Queens, which is fantastic. But he's never let it escape him that it's his name on the building. That's what Dad used to say, is my name on the building, right? It's his name on the building. And this is an objective that he's got to take personal. And so what he does is he asks for it by the people who call him, right? And that takes a lot of intention. You can't really trust a mechanism necessarily. I mean, you can. A vehicle or an app like Podium or something like that, you can blast out and see what happens, and maybe you get something awesome. Maybe you don't. Hopefully your service is awesome. But if it's not, you're probably not going to get a heavy response, and you got to be okay with that. He takes it real personally. He kind of handcrafts them. It's the equivalent of getting a text versus like getting a handwritten letter, right? Yeah. It just feels different, It feels personal,
Matt, in fire protection, what sort of challenges are owners facing when it comes to digital marketing?
So you have to have a mixed bag strategy, right? But if it's a ratio, if you're looking at a pie and you've got a paid search and you've got your outbound and you've got social, all this stuff, most of their pie is going to be made up of SEO. With residential services, it's a little bit different, right? You have this high demand. You've got people that are trying to solve a problem right now. But in this industry in particular, what happens is people are trying to solve a problem with urgency, but it's usually having to do with an inspection, right? Or response to something that they have perhaps failed, right? And the demand from a paid search perspective doesn't need to be there. So it is a slower game, right? And so one of the challenges that I think that they have is they do have to invest in SEO. One of the things that I would recommend anybody that's listening, who's coming from this space also, if you are not investing in contact marketing, which we don't even do, that's its own thing.
And contact
marketing.
What is that?
Contact marketing is like having a large, I guess the best way to describe it is having a large Salesforce strategy to utilize tools like LinkedIn, right? To reach out to people who might start the right conversation to offer your services in a particular industry whereby you don't know them. It's the process of making a second and third contact your first contact, and then sending them messages to try to nurture a lead. It's much slower. It feels impassive. The last time you logged into when you logged into your LinkedIn recently, you see that your inbox is full of people who are trying to pitch you on shit, right? That's contact marketing, right? Yep. And so there is an element of that you need for a B2B space, but these companies definitely need to focus on their SEO, and their SEO has to be responsive to things like regulation changes, and it has to be responsive to the markets that they serve. It has to be tethered into their Google My Business. That's definitely what they need to be thinking about when they're thinking about digital marketing.
What other challenges?
It's a slower game. I think that's the biggest one. Because it's B2B, and because it's heavily reliant on good SEO, it's a slower game. And so you're measuring to see that your benchmarks are moving in the right direction month over month. So that is traffic to the site. That is quality of conversions. That's number of conversions, right? These things are moving in the right direction month over month. That's how you know you've got the right digital marketing partner. And that's how you know that ultimately you're going to get to the goal that you're trying to achieve. If these things are going in the wrong direction, your conversions are dropping, the quality sucks. We talked about this last week. Your site authority is lousy, right? You're not on page 1, you're not on page 2, you're on page 6 or worse, right? Then you need to make a different kind of investment. But their real challenge, everybody that's here that's looking for information on products that are here to better their business or marketing companies they can work with to better their business, they're playing a slow game when it comes to digital marketing. And I think that's their biggest challenge.
So what are these guys, these business owners right now that are doing absolutely nothing, but know they need to do it? How do they start?
Start.
Yeah,
You just got to start.
Where would
you got to
if
vet.
you're doing nothing, you've got a website, nothing else. What would you do?
You got to vet a company that you're going to work with, right? You want to look at referrals, right? Who have you worked with? How have you improved these KPIs that we're looking for, especially when it comes to SEO? You want to see that they've got partners that believe in them and back their play and have made long-term investments here, because SEO is a long-term investment, right? And then just start with the mindset that this is going to take some time. We come from, we've worked together in the pest control industry. And you don't even start these conversations until October, right? Because that's their off season. Well, there is no off season here, right? And so the best thing that they can do is vet their company and start. That's really how to do it. And then just benchmark over time. Make sure trends are moving in the right direction.
What are you seeing now as far as trends go in this industry and how it'll actually impact the fire protection industry?
One of the bigger ones, I think, is actually, and everybody's been rattled about it in 2024. It started with self-driving cars and weird shit like that. Sarah Connor's probably right. Skynet's going to blow us all up eventually. But until it does, AI has big implications on people's ability to cover a lot of ground quickly. I will say, you just asked me, what's the challenge? SEO is a slow game. The advent of artificial intelligence diminishes the amount of time that it used to take for SEO to gain some traction, because you can dump incredible loads of data into AI, and it can help guide your team in the right direction. We talked last week about Google's big gaffe with their leak into the market, telling everybody, basically what's behind the curtain of SEO, at least in March, right? Mm-hmm. And what did I do after I got that leak?
You put it in ChatGPT.
I took all of that content, I threw it into chat, and I had chat start to teach me what's important to me as a digital marketing company. What do I need to be focusing on? Am I doing this right for my partners? And so these guys, they have an advantage through AI, and AI is only going to get better as it progresses. But even these guys behind me, actually, Viking, it has application to how they do things like training. I think over there, me and my daughter were watching. They're teaching people how to manipulate some type of hardware through their goggles and their virtual reality. So they're doing trainings through virtual reality, which is trippy. You can cover a lot of ground when it comes to that kind of stuff. So there's all kinds of technologies that are coming down the way that should make things easier when they're handled the right way. And you definitely want to make sure your digital marketing company is up on it and not behind the curve, right?
When you talk about SEO, you're talking about content creation? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, large amounts of content that are created for businesses that specialize in fire prevention. And the content needs to be real specific, right? With some industries, some service industries, you can kind of screw around, right? You can make viral content and stuff like that. With this industry in specific, you are dealing with things like state regulations. So you really want to focus on content that is educational and that's informative. And you want to produce a lot of stuff like that, even if you feel like it's a little bit of minutia. Like before we came out here, I looked at state regulations for fire prevention in the state of North Carolina with my general manager. just to see what it might look like. And it is like a quagmire of stuff, right? You could literally, one strategy that I would totally implement for any of these businesses that are listening to your podcast, you could take this content, these regulations, and make informative videos, not because people are going to be flying to your YouTube page to be like, oh yes, I need to watch this video about blah, 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 but to link it to your website with the proper descriptions, alt tags, meta tags, all this kind of stuff, and to create that big net that we talk about a lot on your website. That's one thing that Artem's done with his SEO strategy, right? He's made a very big net to catch a lot of fish on Google, right? And creating content like that in high volume is one of the ways that you can do that. But you can do other simple things too. Like you can jump, hopefully your digital marketing company is helping you dot all these I's and cross all these T's, but you can create infographics to simplify things in the mind of the consumers or business that you're trying to work with, give those the proper tags, the descriptions, all that kind of stuff, and load it up to your site and kind of stretch out that net, right? Load it up to your LinkedIn page. You're just creating more things for Google to grab onto and become familiar with your site. And the good news for these businesses is because the regulations is like a wiki of data, which just makes my head hurt just looking at it.
Yep.
They can just, close their eyes, point to a regulation, and start creating some content. It's great. They've got plenty to work with.
So from an SEO perspective, you're suggesting not only the written word, but also video.
Oh yeah, video, infographics, informative videos, tutorials, right? How-tos, the do's and don'ts of fire prevention, right? That's a great thing. Another great thing about AI. Jump over to ChatGPT with your team and ask AI, give me some prompts for this particular industry, and bam, hit me up. And it'll, okay, give me 20 more, right? So it doesn't have to be so, check this box, right? You can skin this cat a lot of different ways. You can create tons of different content, but definitely I would make information videos, create tutorials and infographics, and just load your site up.
So for a business that focuses on inspecting fire extinguishers,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of companies here that's their sole business.
Yeah.
They're out there doing maintenance, repair, service, inspection on fire
Yeah.
extinguishers. You think doing a variety of tutorial videos
Yeah.
behind the scenes of what they do, how they do it, the
Behind the
regulations
scenes.
involved?
Who, what, where, all of that, yes. But then you've got implications, things like electrical implications, right? One of the things that's fascinating to me about this particular industry is this industry is tethered to a lot of separate industries, industrial industries, commercial electricians, right? To make it work, right? There are implications outside of just fire prevention, outside of extinguishing, outside of systems that are in infrastructure, just like this one, that you can also kind of draw from to create more content. So there's definitely plenty to work with when it comes to SEO. These guys have a trove of stuff they can work with. They just got to get started.
I guess in closing today, Matt, I'm thinking about when you guys work with clients. So I own a fire protection company. I come to you and say, my website sucks. I don't do any marketing. My SEO sucks. How does it work? What do you guys do?
Like, how do you get going?
Yeah, I mean, if I sit down with a marketing company like Lizard, like, what's the first step in this process?
The first thing that we've got to do is we've got to evaluate where they're at, right? We're going to scrub their site through the tools that we use to see how it lands. What is the domain authority? How much organic traffic are they getting? What kind of errors are we seeing, right? Where are the holes, right? After we make that evaluation, we're going to partner with the business owner to talk specifically about areas of content that they feel like they need to address that has not been addressed so far. In particular, when it comes to regulation, right? So that has implications when it comes to forecasting, 3 to 6 months worth of blogs that we're going to create for them, drop on their site and force Google to scrub their site. But then I would even start to work with them and get creative with our videographer and be like, okay, let's come out there, let's meet you, and let's create some content that matches these blogs that can be used in video form, that we can create a brand new YouTube channel for you, and we're going to start backlinking into your site. You're also starting to work with them to think about things like white papers that they can create to put on their site and backlinks that they can get into their site. So you're going to look at kind of the state of the union with their site when they're getting started with you, and then you're going to work on a 3 to 6 month plan of the kind of content that you're going to create that they can expect in terms of deliverables, and then hopefully forecasting with them what you should expect to see with those important KPIs. Who's coming to your site? What kind of conversions are you getting? And what is the quality of those conversions? Are you closing down shit, or are you still just kind of, are we spinning our wheels here, right? So that's what we would do. We would meet with them, evaluate, and make like a 3 to 6 month plan of what we're going to try to do on this long game, for SEO.
What percentage of clients focus purely on SEO versus paid search?
Not fucking enough of them. Not enough. Can I say that? Do
You
have to
can say
cut
that, sure.
God, not enough of them, right? It's because, and Artem had like a miracle. He's on page 1 of Google, right? So many of them think that that's like a lost cause, and then they just give up on it altogether, right? This industry is heavily reliant on it, so they've got to do it, right? Hopefully they're all doing it. I don't know. I don't know how many of them are. But
Not many.
Not enough people focus on their SEO. Not enough people are connecting their SEO to their Google My Business page. Not enough people are nurturing their leads and building out their reviews, right? Not nearly enough, which is great for a company that's getting started, because there is an opportunity to get out there and take some market share, because there are plenty of people who are not taking advantage of it. So it's definitely an area of opportunity. Not enough people focus on it.
Well, good. Well, listen, I appreciate you joining us down here at Fire. It's always great to chat with you, Matt.
Always, buddy. I'm going to follow you all around the country. We're going to do some shit this year.
Sounds good, brother. Cheers.
Yeah.